ladies and gentlemen, and being a producer of Wrestle Massacre as well as Inside Movies Galore, I am David Strege, and welcome to Delusions of Grandeur. Enjoy the reviews. I certainly did.
Okay, Dave, that's it. Screw you and your college flunkies. I've had enough of this from you and from everyone else. I know what you guys are trying to do. Break me down, drive me out of the force. Well, it's going to take a hell of a lot more than a lame prank like this to get Curtis Mooney to throw in his badge, so fuck you. Over.
Did you miss me? I guess not.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Delusions of Grandeur. I am your host, David Strege, and here is another episode of What's in My Room. Now, I have had a ton of pickups, and I guess this is my start to actually, like, show you what I've gotten. I've gotten quite a lot, and it's hard to keep track of what comes in and what comes out anymore, because I go for like weeks on end, and I'm not like updating. So here's my chance to show you some of what I have gotten. So the first two items that I wanted to show you are from Amir Scalangia. He runs Foxtrot Productions, and believe this is an older film that he either reshot or found a way to re-edit. And I bought the Blu-ray, got it signed, of Veronica. The film stars Heather Dunham, Mark Bogumil, Christina Santiago, Paul McGinnis, Brandon Machadowski, Ryan Little, and Nicole Scalangia, who is Amir Scalangia's wife. Sometimes he has her act in his films, which is fine and dandy. Let me just read the back of this. So Veronica, a young suicidal woman, is fighting to pick up the shattered pieces of her life after years of abuse and addiction. But those that had their run-ins with death in the past are never too far away from it. Again and again, she must drive away the call of the abyss, as her sanity and physical well-being in a delicate balance. So there we have Veronica. Still have yet to check this out. Started to watch it, but I haven't quite gotten to it yet. Okay. Next, this is a Dollar Tree pickup, a recent Dollar Tree pickup. It's called Anna and the Apocalypse. It's a zombie musical, And it says zombies are coming to town. It is directed by John McPhail. Put out by Orion Pictures and Cinedigm. And in here it says, a zombie apocalypse threatens the sleepy town of Little Haven at Christmas, forcing Anna and her friends to fight, slash, and sing their way to survival, facing the undead in a desperate race to reach their loved ones. But they soon discover that no one is safe in this new world, and with civilization falling apart around them, the only people they can truly rely on are each other. And if you wanted to know any more about this film, you can check out my review on the film. It's not too far back, so let me know down in the comments what you thought of this film. Okay, so next I have a ton of films behind me here. So I haven't even opened this up yet, but this is it's called Clowns of Halloween. And from what I understand, these are short films that have to do 3 short films, I believe, that have to do with clowns. The first is called House of Giggles. The second is called Doll from Hell. The third is called A Deadly Premonition. And these short films, I believe, are directed by Dustin Ferguson. At least that's what I understand. So get to check these out. Definitely looks kind of cool. So gonna check those out eventually. Ground. Next I have looks like a stop motion animation type film. It is directed by Roy T. Wood. It's called Disaster the Movie. If I remember correctly, there are other films similar to it, like Team World America and things of that nature. This was put out by Screen Media Films, along with Dream Entertainment and Blyberg Entertainment. So this says, when a killer planetoid threatens the Earth, Harry Bottoms and his crack team of ASSA specialists must belch and fart their way to victory in order to save the world from the ultimate disaster. Featuring Motley Crue, this hilarious, demented spoof of big-budget action films is more thrilling than Armageddon and raunchier than Team America. So there we have Disaster, the movie. Okay. Next I have, this is another film that's directed by Dustin Ferguson. It's from his SCS Entertainment production company. It is a movie that's called Die, Sister, Die. And it stars Brinke Stevens, Jenny Caroline, and Mark Polkjoy. After the death of their father, Amanda inherits the family fortune. However, her untrustworthy brother and her new ex-con caretaker must be after the money as well. They attempt to scare her to death with a series of frightening encounters. But all is not what it seems, as we discover in the final few shocking moments. As I said, Brinke Stevens, who was in Slumber Party Massacre, and Jenny Caroline, who was in Meat Hood Massacre 2 and 4, and Screaming Won't Help You, Amanda. So, definitely going to check this film out when I get a chance. Next, I have the re-release of Venus Wars from Sentai Filmworks. I bought this off of Amazon, and it still came with this nice production booklet. Looks like there's a ton of stuff in here. Venus Wars was an interesting film. It was a 1980s Japanese animation that I believe it was directed by Ryusuke Hikawa, I believe. I guess this says it was a work situated in the twilight of both the Showa and Heisei eras. So, I am glad that I did pick Venus Wars up, for, I guess it is out of print on Sentai Works at this time, but I do believe that they do have copies of it for $20 a pop, at least for those of you who have not been able to get a hold of it as of yet, as well as it's possible that Amazon still has copies of it. And yeah, if you get a chance, check out our discussion on the film Venus Wars on Inside Movies Galore on YouTube. And eventually, I'm sure it will show up on iTunes and many other podcast stuff once I get our audio edited and whatnot. Next, I have 3 films, I believe, that have something to do with each other. If I can get a hold of... there we go. So, these 3 films are also Dustin Ferguson's. The first is the 10th anniversary edition of Terror at Black Tree Forest. It says, on the front, the cycle of terror begins. And on the back here, it says, a young mother is brutally raped and killed in front of her own child in the woods during the summer of 1970. 20 years later, a group of college friends head off to the same woods, Black Tree Forest, to do some hiking and camping. However, Brian Mellows, the young child who was left scarred 20 years ago, has recently escaped from the Vestron Hospital for the criminally insane. The happy-go-lucky campers, out for a fun-filled weekend, end up in the fight for their lives as they encounter a mysterious masked killer who stalks the forest in search of innocent victims. They play a terrifying game of cat and mouse with the killer until it is time for the last Terror at Black Tree Forest. Now, I picked most of these Dustin Ferguson films up at his Kunikai store, but there is a producer that I know that has been sending me copies of some of the films he's produced behind Dustin Ferguson. John Williamson, I believe his name is. And I want to thank him for getting me involved with seeing some of these films. So, thank you. Next, I have Escape to Black Tree Forest. And on the front it says the cycle continues. 2 weeks after the events in the original film, young Mare Strode returns home from Falls City Memorial Hospital. She brutally murders her mother and returns to Black Tree Forest where the terror all began. However, an all-new group of fun-loving teens have escaped to the same woods for a long-needed weekend getaway. Their weekend of thrills will turn into a weekend of chills as Mare systematically kills them all, continuing the cycle of pure terror. Available for the first time in its intended 2 hours and 35 minutes aspect ratio and presented in a brand new director's cut, starring Jenny Caroline from Die Sister Die, Silent Night, Bloody Night 2, and Meat Hook Massacre 2 and 6. And finally, I guess this is the third installment in the Black Tree Forest trilogy. This has a very retro-looking cover. It says Black Tree Forest 3, 99 cents. Be kind, rewind. Recommended for a mature audience. It says RHR Home Video presents. A young group of college kids head out to Black Tree Forest on Halloween night and come back to face to face with Chuck, the sole survivor of the most recent string of murders, and new maniac to carry the curse. Find out how the cycle ends in the most shocking and scary installment of the series. Shot on vintage VHS, featuring a special appearance by Jenny Caroline from Escape to Black Tree Forest, and starring Brianna Mitchell from Doll Killer. So I'm going to be checking these out eventually. I've just been very slow at getting reviews out. I don't do them as much because I've been working a lot. Next, I have a film that we have covered on our channel, but I have not gone on and done my own review on. It is a film called The Domestics. I bought this from my buddy Dane, so thank you, Dane. And it stars Kate Bosworth and Tyler Hoechlin. Believe it or not, Lois Lane and Superman. It says, good people didn't survive. They did. And this is the, I guess this is the horror pack Blu-ray of this particular Orion release, which is also released by Cinedigm, which I believe Anna and the Apocalypse were too. In a terrifying post-apocalyptic world inhabited by murderous gangs, divided into deadly factions, Nina, played by Kate Bosworth, and Mark, played by Tyler Hoechlin, race desperately across the lawless countryside in search of safety. As one depraved group narrows their search for the couple, they must work together as they are pushed to the breaking point in order to survive. So, the thing I found interesting about this film, it still interests me, is the fact that they are going through this apocalyptic world on their way to my hometown, which is that of Milwaukee. So, glad I was able to check that out. Next, I have a film that I won for 15 bucks shipped on eBay, when the film is going for like 30 bucks on Amazon and other areas. I guess this was restored in 4K, It says Santo, the silver masked wrestler, in the Treasure of Dracula, the sexy vampire version. And I guess this was put out by VCI Entertainment with MVD Visual. So, let's see. Who is in it? Cast. Santo, I guess, is played by El Mascarado da Plata, Aldo Monte, Noelia Noel, Roberto G. Riviera, Carlos Augusti, Alberto Roches, Billy Gonzalez, Jorge, or Georgia, Jorg, Mondragon, Gina Moritz, or Moray. The director is Rene Cardona of this film. So it looks pretty fantastico, does it not? I love Mexican horror films. So I'm definitely going to check this out. The only other Santos film that I know that I have is Santos and The Martians, or something like that. Should be entertaining. Next, I have an older film. I say older because this film is called The Dawn, and it stars Alessandra Ramos, Omar Germain, and Vincent Piazza. And the tagline in here it says, "Fear what you summon. It's always darkest before the dawn," it says on the back. Don't know if you can see that. Big words. The thing about Maverick Entertainment is that they came out with a horror line of films called Creep Effects. And I guess this worked with RDP, Breakaway Films, along with Baby Legs Entertainment. So, let's see what it's about. A group of students signed up for a college credit course about indigenous cultures at a rural retreat. But when darkness falls, the students find out that the curriculum also included their bloody deaths. Terror begins when darkness reigns, and survival depends on staying alive until the dawn. Now, I picked this up, but I also watched it. And I suppose it wasn't bad, but I don't know. There was definitely some bad acting. It seemed like whoever directed this picked whoever he knew up off the street and said, "Hey, you're this person, you're this person, or you're this person. Let's roll the film." But I will definitely be going on about this film eventually. So stay tuned for a review out on that particular film. I mean, it had its good things and its bad things. Next, I picked up a DVD copy of Psycho Gorman. Wanted to see what all the buzz was about. It was written and directed by Stephen Kostansky. With Crazy Ball Productions. I guess this was a Shudder release. And Shudder often uses the RLJE Films logo as a distribution thing for the films that come out on that particular. And I guess this says PG Psycho Gorman on the side, but it's really called Psycho Gorman. He will bathe in your blood. A heartwarming and a heart-ripping family classic by iHorror. Siblings Mimi, who was very annoying, to tell you the truth, and Luke unwittingly resurrect an ancient alien overlord who was entombed on Earth millions of years ago after a failed attempt to destroy the universe. They nicknamed the evil creature Psycho Gorman, or PG for short, and used the magical amulet they discovered to force him to obey their childish whims. It isn't long before PG's reappearance draws the attention of intergalactic friends and foes from across the cosmos, and a rogues gallery of alien combatants converges in small-town suburbia to battle for the fate of the galaxy. I did watch this, and I watched it with my fiancée, and she thought it was stupid. I thought it was entertaining. I could tell that it was a film made on fan love of films exactly like this. Although it seemed like it was geared towards kids. It definitely had some adult situations, and the family was definitely weird. That's all I will say on the film at the moment. But I did pick this film up. Next, I have a film called Destined to be Ingested. A film by Sofian Khan, I guess Susie Lorraine, Kitty Cole, Noshir Dalal, and Chris Ivers starred in the film. Was it all too good to be true, is the tagline. Khan has an eye for cinematography. The set design and costume really impressed me. By Rogue Cinema and Monster Stand News, those particular. So this is a midnight releasing distribution, and on the back it says kidney, luxury, oh wait, not kidney, money, luxury, and cannibals. Anna and Tom were a down-and-out couple until one day their fortunes changed. One lucky lottery ticket later, they found themselves living the good life, cruising the South Pacific with their fancy new friends, enjoying the essential 3 C's of luxury living, champagne, caviar, and cocaine. But when the group of yuppies lose their way and are marooned on a mysterious jungle island, their charmed lives suddenly become a string of gruesome deaths. So here I have Destined to be Ingested. Next I have The Family That Slays Together Stays Together. That's not the title. That's the tagline. I guess Bloody Flicks says that this film is gloriously gory and action-packed. The film is in fact called Death Ranch. It is directed by Charlie Steeds. 1970s USA. 3 African-American siblings, Brandon, Angela, and Clarence, on the run from the police, take refuge at an abandoned Tennessee ranch with plans to lay low for a couple of weeks. But as night falls, Brandon discovers their hideout is on the hunting grounds of a cannibalistic Ku Klux Klan cult. And it's not long before the siblings themselves are attacked, captured by the demonic cult, or demented cult, not demonic. Now facing brutal torture from the cannibals, it's up to Brandon to take down the bloodthirsty Klan. Armed with an axe and shotgun, and save his brother and sister so they can have their bloody vengeance and escape alive. Next, let's see. Next, I have WrestleManiac. I guess this stars Rey Mysterio, Erwin Keyes, and Layla Milani. Tagline, let the face-off begin. The film is directed by Jesse Baggett. And here is what the film is about. For an amateur porn film crew traveling through Mexico, a wrong turn in the middle of nowhere leads to the ghost town of La Sangre de Dios, where locals claim that deranged luchador El Mascarado, played by pro wrestling legend Rey Mysterio, still lives to rip the faces off his victims. Now the night is closing in, the clothes are coming off, and the ultimate death match is about to be unleashed. Erwin Keyes, from House of a Thousand Corpses, and sexy Layla Milani, pro wrestling hottie, and Deal or No Deal's lucky number 13. Co-star in this gore-spewing, bra-bursting shocker that Dread Central hails as bloody, slammin' fun, with one of the most original movie maniacs to come along in a long time. WrestleManiac is the stuff that cult classics are made of. So, I guess this was put out by Anchor Bay. So, there we have that one. Next I have, this was a Dollar Tree pickup, The Steam Engines of Oz. It stars Ron Perlman, William Shatner, and Julian Hough as voiced characters. And their adventure will take them to a magical place. So this was directed by Sean Patrick Riley. It's based on the graphic novel of the same name. And I guess this is a steampunk twist on the classic Oz mythology. Ron Perlman, William Shatner, and Julian Hough lend their voice talents to this fantastical journey to Oz, 100 years after Dorothy clicked her ruby red slippers. A young engineer named Victoria joins forces with the Scarecrow, a not-so-cowardly lion, and some industrious munchkins to find the Tin Man's heart before he destroys their world by industry and mechanization. Along their inspiring journey, they learn a powerful lesson about friendship and how love can overcome any obstacle. I don't know. I liked how beasted up some of the characters were, but but there's a but in here. It was entertaining, I guess, for what it was. The thing is, this animation to me, feels like it needs some more work on. I feel like in order for me to believe the animation, it needs to be, or believe in the animation of it, it needs to be more realistic. I don't know. It was better than Puss in Boots, which also had the voice of William Shatner in it. That was a terrible animation of the story. But, okay. Enough on that one. Next, I have a dark, epic film called The Comet Kids. A once-in-a-lifetime adventure, a once-in-forever encounter. The film is directed by Glenn Triggs. It was distributed by Echo Bridge Acquisition Corp. Put out by SB Releasing, or working with them. But I guess Xavier West, Juliette Salome, Paris Hay, Liam Pope, Harrison Bradley, Thomas Triggs, Tyriel Mora, Marty Roan, Ezekiel Day, Lulu McClatchy, Michelle Celavikani, Kanin, Alicia Roberto, Bev Killick, Jessica Layton, and Reg Gorman starred in this film. And let's see what the film is about. A young boy named Lucas is fascinated with his astronomer father's work. One day, his father discovers a previously unknown comet that has struck not far from their idyllic 1950s hometown. Then, tragedy strikes. Lucas's father dies from illness. Lucas is then tasked with claiming the discovery of the space rock for his father, while his father's friend Cliff tries to take the glory. Lucas and his friends are set out on the adventure of a lifetime to be the first to find a piece of the comet, thereby protecting his father's discovery and defeating the conniving Cliff. So there we have the Comet Kids. And me, I find myself thinking of films like The Goonies and the Stranger Things, Stand By Me, It, films of that nature, where you got a group of friends that just do everything with each other. They have a club, and they end up doing things as a group. I feel like this is that kind of a film, and I feel that's what it was kind of geared towards. This definitely has a Goonies kind of a vibe. And I did want to say that I did enjoy this film, although it was done cheaply and on the sly. It can also be considered a kind of a dog movie, you know? Because there's a German Shepherd that ends up showing up in here that appears to be their friend. In any case, there we have it, the Comet Kids. Next, this film cost me an arm and a leg, for it was $32 to $35. Because it is not on Blu-ray. This is called The Man with Bogart's Face. And it stars Robert Sacchi, Michelle Phillips, Olivia Hussey, and Misty Rowe. It was a 20th Century Fox production, but it was distributed by Image Entertainment. Must be one on their shelf. Robert Saki portrayed Bogey in dozens of TV commercials, print ads, and movie cameos. His acting credits also include the touring company of Woody Allen's Broadway hit, Play It Again, Sam. Bogey's back, or is he? Robert Saki bears an uncanny resemblance to Humphrey Bogart in this witty and charming homage to the man and his movies. After having plastic surgery to look just like Bogey, Sam Marlowe Saki opens his own private detective agency and lives the adventures of his favorite movie Gumshoes, starring Franco Nero, Victor Buono, Herbert Lom, and Michelle Phillips. The Man with Bogart's Face is so much fun, you'll want to play it again and again. So there we have The Man with Bogart's Face. It's been a long time since I've seen the film, so I will definitely have to check it out. The next I have Tales from the Grave. This one is another Dustin Ferguson film. It's got kind of a retro look to the cover. And this says it's from 6 independent masters of terror. It says it's from directors Dark Infinity, who is also known as Dustin Ferguson, Sam Mason Bell, George James Fraser, Pat Cusinati, Jennifer Nangle, and Matthew Leal. Working independently, they've terrified thousands of loyal fans with films like Meat Hook Massacre, Halloween Hell Night, and Moon of the Blood Beast. Together, they're 6 times as scary, and Tales from the Grave, the movie, is the collaboration that horror fans have been deliciously dreading. Imagine traveling home to prepare your late mother and father's house for sale and meeting an unwanted ghastly house guest. Consider what it must be like to spend Christmas Eve alone with a monster in your closet, or to never feel like you are getting enough sleep because of a vengeful imaginary childhood friend. Maybe you're tired of those ungrateful customers. At work, perhaps a gift in the form of an antique doll will brighten your spirits. If all else fails, you could try a little demon invocation, or maybe even a sacrifice or two. 7 ghoulishly clever stories unearthed from the grave. Too shocking for the small screen. As we have in Tales from the Grave, the movie. Brand new, hasn't even been opened yet. Next, I have Mike Judge and Don Hertzfeldt present The Animation Show. Which, I guess, volumes 1 and 2? The groundbreaking animation festival finally comes to DVD. So I guess these are earlier animation episodes before they did, what was it, Beavis and Butthead. I picked this up from Walmart. It is a 1 season only, a 1-up of a series called Jekyll and Hyde. And it stars Tom Bateman, Donald Sumter, Natalie Gumetti, Enzo Salenti, and Richard E. Grant. This is directed by Colin Teague, Robert Quinn, Joss Agnew, and Stuart Zvassend. And this was just, wow. I'm surprised that this never got like any further than it did. I mean, I loved it. This was just such a great series. There's like nothing I can't say about this that is bad. I mean, they ended on a high note. The dude could definitely turn into Mr. Hyde on the whim. That would be Tom Bateman. I wanted to see a second season of this come out. In any case, next I have Star Trek Discovery Season 2. I still have to get Season 1, but I am definitely glad that I got this from our buddy Don. He is quite older than me, but he collected films for a lot of years. And I know that they were working on the third season. My biggest gripe about this particular series is the fact that they put it on that CBS Access crap, where you've got to pay to stream the shit, where it can't be on regular TV or whatnot. I hate that shit. I hate the fact that you have to pay for extra shit. I mean, you should be able to, when you pay for cable, you should be able to pay. You shouldn't have to pay into this other crap just to get it. It should all be like in one big ass bundle, or you should have access to all of it. You should. This was one of the things that I hated about CBS. They're out for their money's worth, and though I get the fact that they're trying to make more money on that crap, I'd rather just own the shit and be done with it. Next, I have another Dollar Tree pickup. Haven't even unwrapped this. I was borrowed this film at one point in time, but I didn't watch it at the time. I just stored the title away in my mind so that maybe I could pick it up myself, because I like the cover. It's a film called High Voltage. It's got David Arquette, Ali Gonino, Ryan Donahue, with Perry Reeves and Luke Wilson. It is directed by Alex Kelejian. It's an SB releasing. VMI Worldwide, Sword Entertainment, along with Chicago Media Angels Tunnel and Aquarium Film Group. It is an Echo Bridge acquisition, Echo Bridge release. High Voltage, an emerging rock band managed by industry vet Jimmy Clean, played by David Arquette, strikes a deal with record executive Rick Rowland, played by Wilson. Things take a sinister turn when the band's lead singer, Rachel, played by Gonino, and her mother, Barb, played by Reeves, are struck by lightning and killed. Rachel is brought back to life, but she is different than before. Lightning curses through her veins, and she uses her new strange electrical powers to drain the life from men, turning it into electrifying stage performances. But just how far are the band willing to go to make it? So there we have it, High Voltage. Definitely entertaining. Next I have This one is a pickup from Big Lots. It is a Blu-ray and DVD combo. It is a Japanese film, it looks like, called Fury. She Will Never Stop. The film is directed by Lee Van Kite. And on the back it says, when a little girl is kidnapped by a trafficking ring, they soon find they messed with the wrong child. Her mother, a notorious former gang leader, is close on their trail and will go to any lengths to bring her daughter home. Featuring a fantastic lead performance by Veronica Nago from Star Wars The Last Jedi. So there we have Fury. Next I have the sequel to a film that I'm not sure if I have, but I'm sure I can pick it up eventually. This is called Brotherhood of the Blades 2, The Infernal Battlefield. This was another Big Lots pickup. One of the film's best of the year. So, an Imperial Guard searches for the truth behind a conspiracy that framed him and his partners. The proof of his innocence lies with a wanted woman named Bai Zai. But will she reveal what she knows? In this intense prequel, so it's not a sequel, it's a prequel, to Brotherhood of the Blades, the only thing he can truly trust is his sword. So this film, it looks like it's directed by Liu Yang. It's put out by Well-Go USA Entertainment, and I find that a lot of the Well-Go Entertainment films end up at Big Lots a lot. So, definitely going to check that film out when I get a chance. I'm going to see if I have the film elsewhere as well. So, this was another Big Lots pickup. I wanted to check out some of the other films that this director had. Sean Patrick O'Reilly's The Legend of the Halloween. Let the adventures begin is the tagline. And this is an animated feature. It is Halloween on the big island of Hawaii. So excited and excitement and mischief are in the air. Three young friends, Kai, Eddie, and Leilani, uncover a mysterious idol in a secret cave whilst catching some waves at sunset. They quickly uncover that they've unleashed an ancient evil upon the island in the form of a giant pineapple-headed monster. The kids find help in some mystical friends and discover that in order to vanquish the evil, Kai must uncover his heritage and believe the ancient stories of his ancestors. So here we have SC Films International working with Fresh Baked Films. It stars the voices of Vanessa Williams, Mark Dacascos, Tia Carrere, Taylor Grubbs, and Kiefer O'Reilly, with what looks like Noah Schnapp and Mark Hamill. So Mark Hamill has a voice in here somewhere. That's kind of cool. Next, this movie looked kind of interesting. This says it's called The Brink. I also picked this up at Big Lots for $5. It says one of the year's best action films. This is also Well-Go USA. It's hard to see the director of this film. But let me look up on IMDb really quick who the director of this is, so that I can give you a bearing. Let's see. The Brink. Ah. The Brink. Looks like this might be a 2019 film. Oh, nope. Not quite. There we go. The Brink was a 2017 film, and it looks like it was directed by Jonathan Liu. And it appears to star Jin Zhang, Sean Yui, Yu Wu, among others. So let's see what this film is about. Fists start flying in this breakneck thriller starring Max Zhang from Master Z and Killzone 2, and Yui Wei from IP Man 4 and Paradox. Now, I do have Paradox somewhere. Where a renegade cop is on a mission to bring a shady smuggler to justice by any means necessary. When his investigation leads to a triad mob boss and global smuggling ring, his manhunt quickly turns from local misconduct into a violent international incident. The Brink is a steady dose of high-flying action and explosive fight sequences that never stop, not even underwater. So here I have the movie The Brink. Okay. And next I have a movie called The Unity of Heroes. Tagline, it says Master Wario Legend. This was another pickup from Big Lots. Also from Well Go USA. Trying to see the darn director again. Normally I'm able to see, but I guess that's one bad thing that I would say about this movie, is that the cover is very dark. I can't really see the wording. So this is a 2018 film. And it's directed by Zhao Lin. Written by Yu Hao Gao, Zenny Li, Xin Yao Niu, and Ning Yang. Not a very good translation of names. Wen Zhao, Na Wei, and Michael Tong star in this film. And let me just tell you what the back of this film says about this particular film. A shipment of a narcotic more dangerous than opium is about to be distributed across the country by a corrupt pharmaceutical company. In the face of foreign and domestic enemies, Ken Wong Fei Hong stop the spread of this dangerous drug and save lives in time. Interesting. Next, I have a magnet releasing of a film called The Ones Below. And this one is also a Big Lots pickup. This one is also hard to see, but it looks like David Farr is the director. It says on the back here, and this is what, at least what they think the film is about. A young, affluent couple, expecting their first child, hits it off with the new couple that moves in downstairs, until a dinner party between them ends in a shocking accident. The new friends suddenly find themselves at odds, and a reign of psychological terror begins. Starring Clemence Posey from the Harry Potter series and David Morrissey from The Walking Dead. So there we have The Ones Below. Well, this isn't exactly a tagline, but I guess RogerEbert.com says creepy paranoid thrills. And Time Out says doesn't let up. Alrighty. These are Dollar Tree pickups, I believe. But let me see. Okay. So these are Dollar Tree pickups that I've recently picked up. I went there for some others, but I guess this will have to do. First film here that I have is called In Darkness, directed by Anthony Byrne. The film looks like it stars Natalie Dormer, Ed Skrein, and Emily Ratajkowski. And it says here on the back about this film, blind pianist Sophia, played by Natalie Dormer, overhears a struggle in the apartment above hers that leads to the death of her neighbor, Veronique, played by Emily Ratajkowski. It is the start of a journey that pulls Sophia out of her death and brings her into contact with Veronique's father, Milos Radic, a Serbian businessman accused of being a war criminal. Sophia is drawn into a dangerous world of corruption, investigating police, hitmen, and the Russian mafia. A world with links to Sophia's own hidden past and a path of revenge she has kept hidden until now. So there we have In Darkness. I'm going to definitely check that out. Here I have The Clove Hitch Killer, which apparently the film stars Dylan McDermott, Charlie Plummer, and Samantha Mathis. The film is directed by Duncan Skiles, or Skiles. Put out by Screen Factory, or Shelf Factory, and IFC Midnight put together. A shocking revelation turns a teenage boy's world upside down in this chilling look at the evil that can lurk below the most wholesome surface. I hate it when the plastic before you actually open the film covers the wording. So I'm going to have to open this up, ladies and gentlemen. Tyler Burnside, played by Charlie Plummer from All the Money in the World, is a Boy Scout, a volunteer at his local church, and the dutiful son of an upstanding community leader by the name of Dylan McDermott from American Horror Story. Only one thing troubles the quiet Kentucky town he lives in: the unsolved murders in which 10 women were brutally tortured and killed by a psychopath known as Clove Hitch. That rocked the community more than a decade ago. When Tyler discovers a cache of disturbing images in his father's possession, he begins to suspect that the man he trusts most in the world may be Clove Hitch, and that his deadly rampage may not be over. With the unrelenting tension, director Duncan Skiles crafts a picture-perfect vision of the American family and then rips it to shreds. So here I have the Clove Hitch Killer. Next I have a 3-film pack, which I found at Dollar Tree. The first film, I guess, is called Afterscape. The second film is called Hologram Man, and the third one is called The Silencers. As you can see, Alterscape stars Charles Baker and Michael Ironside. And that particular film is directed by Serge Levin, SB Releasing, and Isle Empire Pictures. Having recently lost his family, Sam Miller, played by Breaking Bad's Charlie Baker, retreats into himself and becomes numb to the world around him. With nothing left to live for, Miller submits himself to a series of dangerous scientific trials designed to fine-tune fine-tune human emotions. Miller experiences a one-of-a-kind reaction to the tests that sends him on a treacherous journey that transcends both physical and perceived realities. Now, Miller finds a reason to live as he fights for survival in this thought-provoking and engaging sci-fi thriller. Next is Hologram Man. This one is directed by what looks like Richard Pelpin. In a futuristic world, Slash Gallagher has been sentenced to prison in a holographic state. When a corporation takes over LA and Slash is able to escape his confinement, this radical gun-toting musclehead is free to roam the streets again and start his revolution. It is a rated R film. Working with PM Entertainment. Richard Pelpin also directed The Silencers, I guess. So The Silencers is about, okay, this is what the thing says. Defeating an invading alien race becomes the difficult task of a gutsy government agent named Rafferty. In this sci-fi thriller, he'll find out just what it takes to stay alive and to protect the planet. This one is also rated R for action violence. So it should be interesting once I finally watch some of those. I feel like those which films are picked up and shelved or often see the light of day as these bonus films. And those are the Easter eggs that you have to look out for in some of these bonus packs. These packs with multi-films on them and stuff like that. And that's what I've found to be the case. Next, I have a film that I know nothing about. I guess it's called Anthem of a Teenage Prophet. This is a Blu-ray DVD combo of the film. I guess it's got Cameron Monaghan, Grayson Gabriel, Peyton List, and Juliette Lewis in the film. This film is directed by Robin Hayes. This is an Echo Bridge release by SB Releasing and Hunali Entertainment, or Honolly Entertainment, with Telefilm Canada under the Harold Greenberg Fund and Sepia Films. So, this is what the back says about the film. So, based on an award-winning novel, a teenager's gift of premonition becomes a curse when, after predicting the death of one of his friends, Luke Hunter, played by Cameron Monaghan, is dubbed the Prophet of Death by a local news reporter. A media madhouse infiltrates Luke's life. Everyone in his Michigan hometown desperate to know more. Luke holds everyone at arm's length. The relentless news crew, his mother, Juliette Lewis, and father, Even Faith. Peyton List, the girl he has recently loved for as long as he can remember. Secretly loved for as long as he can remember. Telling no one that the premonitions keep happening. Troubled and confused, Luke must make sense of his newfound abilities in this fast-moving tale of struggling youth. So there we have Anthem of a Teenage Prophet. That actually sounds more interesting than I first thought of it. So these are the 5 that I chose from Dane's selling pile. The first is a Japanese film called Vampire Girl vs. Frankenstein Girl. And then I know this came out a while ago. Came out from Funimation. And it's hard to read the back, so I will not. I just want to say that I guess this says it, well, this must have been an independent film at one point in time because it has 2 festival laurels on it. Fantasia Festival, Guru Prize, Most Energetic Film, and NY Asian Film Festival. It got the Audience Award. So this is another one that I think I have to figure out who the director is. So Vampire Girl. So this is a 2009 release. And it is directed by 2 different directors. Yoshiro Nishimura and Naoki Tamamatsu. IMDb says this is what the film is about. Transfer student Monami has a secret and a past that has caught up with Mizushima, deceiving Mitsushima into eating a token gift of chocolate laced with her blood. He is then catapulted into Monami's vampire world of blood, death, and love. Jilted girlfriend Keiko has other ideas. With a sudden twist of fate, she is then transformed into the hideous and unforgiving Frankenstein girl, and the battle for Mitsushima's heart begins. So, I'm definitely looking forward to checking this particular film out. I always find Japanese action films or horror films entertaining. Next, I have from the creators of Chicken Run and Wallace and Gromit, apparently the best animated film of the year, according to the Boston Herald, Shaun the Sheep, the movie. Wild delight kids and adults will like. So on the back here, I guess this is a Lionsgate film, along with a Studio Canal. Meet Shaun. He's a little sheep with big dreams, and lately, life on Mossy Bottom Farm has become a bit boring. When Shaun takes the day off for some fun in the big city, he gets a lot more action than he bargained for. Now Shaun and his flock must use their wits to hatch a brilliant plan to get back home in an adventure the whole family will love. So there we have it, Shaun the Sheep. Next, I have the Canadian release of the 25th anniversary of Drop Dead Fred. It stars Phoebe Cates and Rick Mayall, and I do believe that Carrie Fisher is also in here. You know what? It says Region B on here, but it is actually all region. So, dishes, relationships, wind, this guy breaks everything. Every kid has an imaginary friend. Only Elizabeth, played by Phoebe Cates, isn't a kid, and Drop Dead Fred, played by Rick Mayall, is anything but imaginary. With a haircut this bad, he has to be real, and his mischief has Elizabeth in big trouble. When she splits with her husband, Tim Matheson, Elizabeth turns to her best friend, Carrie Fisher, but played by Carrie Fisher. But it's her mother, played by Marsha Mason, who sends her back home where she discovers her childhood friend, Fred. Having been locked in a box for 21 years, Fred is bursting with enough energy to turn Elizabeth's life into a rowdy, rollicking, racy adventure. So here I have Drop Dead Fred. Recently rewatched it, and it's still a lot of fun. Next I have, with its slipcover, Tales from the Crypt, Bordello of Blood, which is directed by Gilbert Adler. And this is Shout Factory's release of this particular film. So, and I had also picked up the Blu-ray, but I don't care about having Blu-ray, to be honest. I switched it with my fiance as always on DVD. Why? Because I prefer DVD. Always is got Holly Hunter, Richard Dreyfuss, and John Goodman. And here's the tagline: they couldn't hear him, they couldn't see him, but he was there when they needed him, even after he was gone. It's a Steven Spielberg film, and it's one of my fiance's favorite films. So, I guess this was a Universal as well as an Amblin Entertainment film. Basically, Richard Dreyfuss played a character where he crop dusted, and he ended up dying. But then his wife, played by Holly Hunter, fell in love with another pilot. And at first he was jealous, but then he realized he had to be their guide in finding love and protecting, giving her, and protecting her by protecting the love that she is is starting to feel for this pilot. So, in any case, I think that's all that I'm going to show you today, but I have a ton more to show you. So, thank you for listening. Let me know down in the comments what you've collected, and let me know what you have in your collection. So, thank you for the time that you spent, and hopefully you come back and so I can show you what else I have, because I just love to share what I have. And I haven't even shown anything. I started videotaping the stuff that I started to pick up when I was already 3/4 into my collection, so there is much more to show you. Thank you, and enjoy. And come back. You're always welcome.
You were good, kid, real good. But as long as I'm around, you'll always be second best, see?